Energy Arena and Harris Cherokee Casino Field for Georgia Swarm Lacrosse. Alongside Brian Silcott, I'm Mark Zinno as the Georgia Swarm take on the Buffalo Bandits today. And let's give everybody, Brian, a quick view of Lacrosse 101, third game of the year for the Swarm. People still familiar with the sport.
Yep, some key rules. We play 4 quarters, 15 minutes apiece. Each team has 20 men dressed. We have a 30-second shot clock. Got to get a shot on the goalie, on the goal, or hit the pipe within that 30 seconds. We have penalties, very similar to hockey. 2-minute minor, 5-minute major. You have 8 seconds to get the ball across the midfield line. And
all right, let's take a look at the goaltenders for this game's contest here. David DeRuzio going to get the start in net for the Buffalo Bandits. 1-1 on the year, 96 saves and a 7.69 goals against average. In net for the Swarm, a change of pace for Ed Como. Zach Higgins getting his first start since the opening game of the year against Colorado.
Yeah, we look, the Buffalo's gone bigger, right? They have a 300-pound man in the net, and we've moved down from our 6'7" goalie to a slightly smaller, more athletic goalie. Both of these guys are familiar with the game. Both of them should settle in quickly, but their results in the net will have a huge impact on the outcome.
Officials for this game today, the crew chief Chris Williams, assistant referee Ian Garrison, and the shot clock operator John Ashnu will handle all the shot clock duties again. 30-second shot clock, 8 seconds to get the ball over midcourt. These two teams, half a game apart in the standings, Brian. The Swarm 3-3 coming in today. The Bandits 3-2, and Buffalo's not won a game away from their home field.
No, they haven't. I mean, Buffalo's always loved being in their home arena. They draw great crowds there, but they are definitely struggling on the road this year. They're struggling getting goals on the road. They're a physical defensive team, and that's what they're going to try to do today. It'll
be interesting to see how the Swarm react after a 2-1 road trip, particularly that last game against Calgary, blowing that late lead. See how well they can bounce back. This is one of the highest scoring team in goals per game in the league right now. The Georgia Swarm are at 12.83 goals per game, but yet they give up 12 goals a game.
Yeah, well, and that's the problem right there.
And reminding everybody about the 4 first-round draft picks for the Georgia Swarm coming into this year. Lyle Thompson, the first overall pick. Jesse King, the 3rd overall pick. You go to Chad Tutton, who was the 5th, and Randy Stotts, who was the 6th. And we talked before about the year that Randy Stotts is having, just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, he is. But the reality is, on any given night, any one of these guys can step up and be the leader in points. We all know what kind of talent they had. We're all waiting for Lyle Thompson to have his breakout and start putting up the big points. Maybe it'll be today for us.
Game will start with the face-off. Face-off man for Georgia, Jordan McIntosh, who has been fantastic in face-offs this year. 68 out of 150, good enough 45%, tailing off a little bit over the last couple of games. But he'll face the best face-off man in the league in Jay Thornburg, winning nearly 62% of his face-offs taken. 84 face-offs won this year, by far the most in the NLL.
Yeah, and Jay is much more of a face-off specialist, whereas Jordan is a fantastic lacrosse player who happens to be very good at face-offs.
It'll be the Swarm and the Bandits here. We're just moments away from the Infinite Energy Arena in Harris Cherokee Casino Field. The Swarm trying to move up the Eastern Division standings. Again, just a game out of first place. Reminder again about the officials. Crew Chief Chris Williams, assistant referee Ian Garrison, and the shot clock official John Ashnu, who will handle all the officiating duties. But we expect another high-scoring, fast-paced game, something that Georgia Swarm fans have become accustomed to here early on in this season.
Yeah, and, we all love seeing some scoring, and we're definitely going to get it tonight. They'll run in transition, get those O guys on the floor, and try to score quickly. But when they don't, they become very patient once they get settled and work for the great shots.
And of course, the Swarm will have to be on their guard against Dane Smith, who is the main goal-scoring threat for the Buffalo Bandits. 37 points, 3rd in the NLL in scoring. And he is a guy that, just much like what they saw in Sean Evans when they faced New England, he is a guy that can do everything out on the field.
Absolutely. I'm sure there's been a lot of discussion in the film room, in the locker room, in team meetings about how they're going to stop him. He's going to get his goals. The key is to not allow him to take over the game and to make sure you're not focusing too much on the floor and letting other guys put up 5-6 goals on you.
How much concern do we have for Zach Higgins getting this start again? First start since the first game of the year, gave up 16 goals in that Colorado game. Played well, it was a back-and-forth game, but are you worried about the rust from a goalie like him?
That's exactly what my concern would be. He hasn't been in the net in a while. He gave up 16 the last time out, which is a lot of goals in this league. We'll see very quickly where he is today.
All right, so Thornburg and McIntosh will get us started here at Harris Cherokee Casino Field, and we are underway as the Bandits win the opening face-off, and they will set things up offensively. And it's Matthew Bennett working his way now, dumping it off and going back to the bench. You'll see these line changes come very quickly on the fly here in indoor lacrosse. And we get our first look at Dane Smith. And he works his way over to Mitch Jones, who was trying to get inside. Smith is left open as he cuts towards the net with a shot that is a save by Higgins and tested early and up to the task.
Yeah, you can see Dane Smith trying to use his body to get inside. They did a great job of riding him out, not letting him get that inside angle to be able to reach to the far side on the goalie.
Now we'll see the Swarm on offense for the first time. And there's Jesse King who loses the ball and it's picked up quickly by Buffalo. Sprinting down the side of the field is Mitch Wild, and he is waiting for some help. Now pulls up. And Mark Stainhouse, another goal scorer for the Bandits, 13 points in the year, 8 goals and 5 assists. Stainhouse now dumps it off to Kevin Brownell. He dumps it right in, and we get our first goal of the game.
Yeah, classic pick and roll there. Steinhaus is a dynamic player. Whenever he has the ball on the stick, you've got to be concerned about what he's going to do. I think we got a little overly concerned there, and they were able to slip the pick and get a layup.
Yeah, and just a tough opening here as Brownell was left basically unguarded in front of the net.
Yeah, and it was pick and roll, and both guys stepped to Stainhouse, which is makes sense in terms of his ability to score. But you've got to cover both guys all the time.
Brownell with his 4th goal of the year, and with under just over a minute gone, the Bandits have a lead already in this game. We'll see how the Swarm react. And Lyle Thompson now setting things up offensively for the Swarm. And you'll see the Swarm, if you haven't watched them much this year, they are a great passing team. They move the ball with a lot of fluidity, and guys are constantly working towards the net. And a shot off the post right there by Johnny Powlis. And Buffalo quickly comes out on the other end, and a shot and a score! And Alex Keto Hill does the damage. And he was left alone on a long rebound that came out off the post.
Yeah, I think that one actually may even have hit 2 pipes there. The concern here is they get the guys back on the floor. It looks like he's wide open. Remember, they're changing at the bench so they get the guys back. But when your goalie's giving up that one from the outside, it makes it a little tougher to play in transition.
Now, 2 quick ones from the Bandits. If you're Ed Como, how worried are you about Zach Higgins at this point?
I'm sure he's thinking about it.
So it's a 2-0 lead, 13:22 left in the first quarter here, and not the start that the Swarm wanted, as they are back home for the first time in almost a month here on Valentine's Day. So we'll see how they respond. Shane Jackson working it over to, that is Miles Thompson. And the Swarm working inside. A weak shot towards the net is saved by DeRuzio. And now Buffalo will start out again on offense. And here is Dane Smith working along the boards, moving in towards the net, cuts to the middle, and a shot and a save by Higgins. So Higgins is able to stop their best goal scorer in both the shots he's taken so far, but not the other guys.
And he needs to get a few stops. I mean, that's the key, is to get comfortable in there, start to feel good about himself, and it'll all start to get easier.
And trying to work inside for Georgia between traffic. They lose the ball, picked up now over by Krepensek with a shot that is saved. And now there's a scrum in front of the net, but the ball is loose. We'll get a quick stoppage and play, and the Bandits will get the ball. Haven't seen that typical Georgia offense set up yet on either of their first couple of possessions.
No, they took the shot pretty quickly. Both times they were decent looks. They hit the pipe, but ultimately we're going to see them holding the ball much more, with much more passing back and forth across the field as well as up and down the sides.
And you talk about the Bandits, another shot and a save by Higgins there. Mitch Jones with the shot, and the rebound is picked up by Georgia finally. But Buffalo, not a very high-scoring team.
No, they're traditionally a physical team. They get enough goals to win, but they want to play hard at the defensive end, keep the ball out of the net, and score as many goals as they need to win.
And here we have, looks like Kyle Matisse working through. And a quick shot and a score by Shane Jackson. A give and go right in front of the net. And Georgia cuts the deficit 2-1.
Yeah, and that one's set up by the action on the offside, right? The righties are working with the ball quickly, and at first, when they get the ball quickly across to the lefty side, they're able to slip it back to the inside. So it's the action on the far side that sets that up. They bang the ball across the floor to the opposite side. The man's wide open on the inside.
Yeah, and certainly a defensive lapse there from Buffalo as Jackson was wide open in front of the net. Jackson now with his 14th goal of the year, his 30th point. He's tied for 8th in scoring in the NLL coming into this afternoon's game.
You give Shane Jackson that much room, he's going to score.
And so Georgia trailing 2-1. Another shot and a score! Oh, they wave it off. It is waved off. Chad Tutton still laying down in the crease. As you can see here, Tutton just kind of makes a move towards the net. And he didn't look like he was in the crease there on that one, Brian. He looked like he was airborne.
I don't think so either.
Now you can challenge, and we do see the red challenge flag come out from Ed Como. So they'll challenge this goal, and I think this is going to hold up as a goal here, tying things at 2.
Yeah, and this is the exact same move that Dane Smith used earlier on the right side, trying to get underneath, lean back into the defender. In this instance, we were able to push up the floor, create that angle to launch himself across the floor, and I think he got up in the air before he touched the crease.
And just for clarification, as the officials, Chris Williams goes over to talk to Ed Como about exactly what he's challenging, you can be airborne and the ball goes in the net and it counts. As long as you're not inside the crease or your foot doesn't cross the crease line prior to shooting, that the goal will count.
Exactly, or diving towards the goalie. That's the key. Even though he ends up with the goalie here, the defender pushed him. His dive wasn't towards the goalie. His dive was out across the front of the crease. He ended up in the goal because the defender pushed him there. But as long as you're not diving towards the goalie, you can dive out across the crease.
We also have David Brock of the Bandits sitting in the penalty box right now. And not sure, we haven't seen any call from the officials yet, as we have both the captains.
I'm going to take a guess that given where we ended up on that play, entangled with their goalie, that one of the Bandits took exception to that contact with their goaltender.
And we're taking another look at it here for the up top view, the overhead camera view. You can see Tutton cutting right towards the net here.
And using strength to allow himself to maintain that angle where he has access to the far side of the pipe.
And as you pointed out, he dove straight out across. His dive was never towards David DeRuzio, the goaltender. It was straight out, even though he landed underneath him.
Exactly. And regardless of the rules and what's going on, when a player ends up entangled with your goalie, the defenders are going to be upset about it.
Sure.
And I'm sure that's what the penalty resulted from.
So David Brock standing in the box right now. Looks like we'll get a 2-minute penalty for him as well. But one more look at this is Tutton again. Just a great athletic play here, Brian.
And I'm saying goal. I'm saying goal. The other key part of the rule is that the ball also has to be in the net before he touches down, which I think it was as well. He took off outside the crease, and the ball was over the goal line before he touched down in the crease.
And much similar to the NBA, you see that the official can go over to a replay screen and look it over with a headset on, talk to replay officials, and they just want to make sure they get the call right. But with 11:28 left in the first quarter, it looks like the Swarm have tied it back up after giving up 2 early quick ones. If this stands, we'll be tied at 2, and that's a great response from Georgia.
Absolutely. I mean, that's exactly what they needed. I think it'll help the goaltending as well. Feels like he has the team behind him. They're going to score goals for him. It's much easier to play in the net when you know your team's going to score goals for you.
Now, just from a player standpoint, as a former player yourself, you're only less than 4 minutes into the game. You're starting to get loose. You're starting to get your body ready to go, and you're feeling the contact. Now you get this kind of stoppage. How much will this affect the players?
I don't think it does, though. People talk about it a lot, but these guys are professionals. They're used to the stop and go. They're used to the waits at times, whether it be in the locker room during pregame and halftime. I think they'll be fine.
And by the way, right here, you can see David Brock on top of Chad Tutton, and the extracurricular activity there might have been the reason for the penalty. We're still waiting for a signal from the officials, but if you watch here after the goal, Brock, as you'll see him charging in, ends up on top of Chad Tutton.
And clearly it's a little bit late because he's not on top of him.
Right, yeah, there's no David Brock now, but if the replay continues, you'll see.
And an important thing to note is that there will be nobody on the Buffalo bench that's upset with this penalty. I mean, that is expected. Part of his job is to stand up for his goalie, and that is expected on this team that he's going to take a penalty there.
Well, and by indications of the fact that Brock's staying in the box, I would assume the goal counts. And it does not. Or I didn't hear I'm sorry, I didn't hear the public address announcer. And it looks like the goal, well, we'll get the official word here from crew chief Chris Williams.
Ball crossed the goal line prior to the player ending the crease. We got a good goal.
Okay, there we go. We have a good goal. We're tied up at 2.
Tied up at 2 and going on man up. It's an outstanding situation.
Exactly what the Swarm wanted, so they get right back in this thing. And credit Chad Tutton with his 5th goal of the year. And we are tied up at 2 with 11:28 left in the first. And little love here for the fans on Valentine's Day.
Absolutely. And they got to be excited about having a power play coming out of that and a chance to go up 3-2 here early in the game.
You mentioned the power play, the Georgia power play, third in the NLL this year, converting on 60% of their opportunities. That's one of the things that Ed Como wanted to fix coming into this year with the special teams. They've certainly done it on the power play.
Absolutely. I think they started out a little bit slow with it this year, but they have a great group of offensive players, and there's no reason they shouldn't be scoring goals in the power play.
They'll go up against one of the best penalty kill in the National Lacrosse League in the Buffalo Bandits, giving up just 6 of 19 penalty opportunities this year, and their 5 shorthanded goals tied for second most in the league.
And that's something Buffalo has always taken pride in. 1, defending the net when they're shorthanded, but 2, running in transition when they're shorthanded and scoring goals.
So it will be McIntosh and Thornburg again on the faceoff, and the Swarm up on the power play. And Thornburg wins a very important faceoff, and they'll let the ball roll around, and they'll set up their defense for Buffalo.
All right, here we go now. Let's get one more.
We'll see how Georgia responds, try to take their first lead of the game. And it's Thompson at the top. And Petkoff out on the floor with Paulus as well. Matisse. As Georgia circling the ball around, and a shot from Randy Stotts' block never gets its way to the net. And now Paulus looking for a way in. As we got 23 left to shoot, a shot from Thompson is wide.
You can see the Swarm there cycling on the right-handed side, using the 3 righties to cycle through, trying to create a little confusion in the defense, pulling up the guys from low and cutting through the center and changing that center man over and over again.
Stainhouse with the ball for the Bandits. We're in a shorthanded situation.
What they'll generally do here is run as much of the clock as possible, and when they get down towards the end, try to score a goal.
And now Higgins will have to hold on to it as Dane Smith stands in front of him. And we get our first look at Drew Petkoff this game, and he gives it over to Jackson, slowly working his way into the offensive zone. We are under 45 seconds left in the power play. Lyle Thompson at the top. A behind-the-back pass from Paulus back to Thompson. And now Paulus with a shot that is saved. Paulus with a good look there and a clean shot right at DeRuzio.
A good look. I think DeRuzio read that, knew he was going up to that top corner. I think next time they might be a little bit more patient, try to get something cross crease before they take that shot.
And Priolo, the Bandits, loses the ball, and it's picked up by Krepintsek, who quickly sprints into the offensive zone. Krepintsek looking for help and now pulls up. And he got it. Great defense there by Georgia against Priolo to kind of rattle him loose and shake the ball away.
Let's get one right here.
So we're under 9.5 left in the first quarter. Game tied at 2. And it is Lyle Thompson with the ball. Now Jackson back to Thompson. He looked like he was going to wind up for a shot, and then throws the ball into the corner, and it is loose. Matisse had it, but lost it. Now Buffalo picks it up. And here comes Steve Priolo again. The penalty is killed off, so Buffalo does what they've been doing all year long. His teams are at full strength.
And it's surprising that Lyle Thompson didn't see that man coming out of the box, or one of his teammates didn't communicate it to him before he got hit.
Stainhouse with a long shot that's saved by Higgins. As you mentioned, more saves for him, better off he's going to be from a confidence standpoint.
Absolutely.
And it's Jesse King now working down towards the net, dumps it in the middle, could not be handled by McIntosh. And Georgia will have to reset things up offensively. 10 left to shoot. Georgia still trying to get inside an underhanded shot, never makes its way to the net. And it is turned over as Buffalo comes out on offense. Wasn't the cleanest offensive series there for the Swarm.
That's exactly what I was thinking. A bit of a sloppy set there. They did get a shot off, but not the one they're looking for.
And to this point so far, as we near halfway through the first quarter, as we watch Chad Culp work his way in, and another save by Higgins. Right there, a save off Benish's shot. Now we get Dane Smith, another save. So Higgins been up to the challenge. Long outlet pass, and Georgia's out on the offensive with Jesse King all alone with Tutton. And King will wait for some help as the Swarm go for a line change, but Higgins with 2 big saves.
It'd be nice to think he's starting to settle in. That's his third save on Dane Smith already today.
Certainly, excellent to point out Dane Smith, 3rd in the league in scoring. And now King with the behind-the-back pass to Powers. He gets hit and loses the ball, has to reestablish himself, goes behind the crease, and throws it over Matisse's head. The loose ball is picked up, and sprinting down the field is Stainhouse, dumps it over to Benish, and he misses. I'm sorry, that's David Brock, rather. Now Benish back near midfield.
Illegal pick called.
Yeah. So we'll get a stoppage in play here. And with that stoppage, we'll take a timeout. 7:22 left. We're tied up at 2. This is Georgia Swarm Lacrosse on Fox Sports Southeast.
Get ready to enter the hive.
Hard-hitting professional lacrosse action returns to Infinite Energy Arena March 18th when your Georgia Swarm battle Rochester on Harrah's Cherokee Casino Field.
Bandits for a goal!
Lower-level tickets start at just $28 at GeorgiaSwarm.com.
Jesse King with a great goal.
Powered by Harrah's Cherokee Casino, Georgia Swarm Professional Lacrosse. You'll feel the buzz long after the final buzzer.
My little brother's birthday is today. I have an idea.
Western Union makes sending money across the country easy. Download our app, go online to westernunion.com, or visit one of over 51,000 agent locations today.
That was easy.
This is moving money for better.
That they are the best scoring team in the league with 12.83 goals per game. There's 77 goals in the year, just second only to Colorado, who have scored 100 so far. So, and Georgia and Colorado in the opening game of the year involved in a very high scoring contest, 16-15. Swarm come up on the short end, but those two teams will meet later on this year.
That's the game that the fans love to watch, but the defensive coach is not so happy about the 15-16 game.
So Kyle Matisse will start with a fresh 30 seconds, and the Swarm will look to try to take a 3-2 lead here. Let's see if they can establish a better offensive series than they have in the past couple times out. And no, they don't, because they turn it right over.
It's another illegal pick call.
And Wild comes in with a shot that was off the mark. And a long rebound comes back out to Lyle Thompson. And we'll get another stoppage in play right here. It looks like we're going to get a delay a game in a turnover. Yeah, delay a game, and Kyle Matisse, is the in-home player, will go serve a 2-minute minor here.
I think they may have been out a little bit early off the bench there. Getting back.
That's happened several times to the Swarm this year, those line changes.
Well, it's particularly tempting when you're going back on the defensive end. You see that player coming up the floor, and you want to leave your bench and get out there and play defense, and sometimes you're a bit overeager.
So the Swarm now on the penalty kill. And while they have improved their power play this year, penalty kill not so much, and right there it is a goal from Daryl Veltman. And quickly the Bandits take back their lead. It is a 3-2 game right now. Matisse will leave the box just 14 seconds into that power play.
Yeah, that was a real quick one. And as you see here, the defense just doesn't step out. It's Noble down there, down low, and he just doesn't step out. I don't think he thought Veltman would shoot the ball there. When you're shorthanded, you generally, when the ball's on one side, you don't want to overplay on that side because your goalie's on the pipe there, able to defend. You don't want them to go back across to the other side into the open side of the net. But in that instance, Veltman extended his arms, reached around the goaltender, was able to go far side on it.
Veltman was the #1 overall selection in 2008, his 9th point of the year, 4th goal, and he was part of the 2009 All-Rookie team here in the NLL. And it looks like we're going to get another replay here. What they're going to look at, Brian, I'll defer to you. I don't know if his foot might have been near the crease, or
it certainly didn't look
it didn't look like. He was certainly far enough away, unless there was another Bandit player who was in the crease.
That is a possibility. Someone on the backside was in the crease.
So they're reviewing this goal. Have put the 3 up on the scoreboard so far. Let's take another look at it here. Certainly right there. It looks like Alex Keto Hill was in the crease.
And he was in. The question is, was he back out? Is the question. It's very close.
I mean, he's clearly in right there. And the shot is released with his foot still in the crease. I just don't know if he was airborne and out yet. We'll have to see.
Yeah, that's about as close as it gets right there. It's amazing how we look at these replays and we watch it 3-4 times in slow motion trying to figure it out, and the officials on the floor got to make that in real time. It's a tough call.
This will be a break for the Swarm because, again, it was only 14 seconds into the Bandits' power play, and it looks like quickly Chris Williams has figured out the solution to this, and we will get the call from the officials.
Prior to the ball crosses the goal line, we got no goal.
And the goal is waved off. So it will send Kyle Matisse back to the penalty box.
Exactly.
So the Georgia will remain down a man, but it is back to a 2-2 game.
And
so the Swarm catch a break. And as you said, they'll get the ball with a chance to kill some of this penalty. They have 1:45 left in the penalty, and we mentioned that the penalty kill for the Swarm last in the league coming into today, and their 19 shorthanded goals given up tied for the most in the league. Not something Ed Como is proud of.
No, that's not a situation you want, and especially if you're taking penalties. And luckily, they haven't taken a lot of penalties, but they are letting up a lot of goals when they go shorthanded.
And there is a shot from Randy Stotts, and Jesse King tried to get the rebound but missed it, and then quickly sprints to the bench. And Georgia will set things up defensively here for this penalty kill.
All right, now.
1:10 left in the power play. And Dane Smith, who's been shut out so far, let's see if they get him involved in on the offense. Here's Stainhouse at the top, left for Smith. And defensively, you can kind of see the box formation they set up in. And a shot and a save by Higgins.
The Bandits actually using a pick there to try to free up the shooter, bringing Stainhouse in to screen down on the defender to set up the left-handed shooter.
And the official's going to call a violation of Keto Hill, and the Swarm will get the ball, and they'll get a chance to kill some more penalties. We got just about 40 seconds left. So now we'll see if the Swarm try to do something offensively or just end up killing some clock here. 15 left to shoot.
If they get it down here, leave the Bandits with one more possession on the power play.
So just kind of running around, killing some clock. 3 seconds left to shoot. And he throws it in the corner, and they'll willfully turn it over and just let this power play expire. 10 seconds left, one last rush for the Bandits as Matisse rises to his feet.
And we broke the power play. We're back to full strength.
And we are at full strength right now, and a shot and a save by Higgins. We're into 5 minutes left here in the first quarter. Game tied at 2. And Georgia could not get the ball offensively after killing that penalty, so Buffalo will start out again.
Sloppy outlet from Higgins there.
Dane Smith over the top. Buffalo working the ball around Smith with a shot that is deflected and wide. And it hit the netting. And now we get a little chippiness from Mitch Belisle right in front of his own goal. Mitch, a veteran kind of defensive stalwart, if you will.
Yep, and he's American out of Cornell University. He's been around the league for a long time. A long stick player in the field game who's transitioned well into playing with the shorty, playing defense with the short stick and box. He's one of the few Americans that really loves this game.
I'm sorry, they're sending Belisle to the box now. His chippiness has now cost the Swarm, and they'll be back on the penalty kill.
I think they got both of them.
Okay, they also get Ryan Benesh.
That's kind of the officials could call the penalty there or not. They called a penalty to make a statement that we're not going to have that going on today.
So we have 4:35 left in the first quarter, and a game tied at 2 between the Swarm and the Bandits. This is Georgia Swarm Lacrosse on Fox Sports Southeast. Dane Smith over the top. Buffalo working the ball around Smith with a shot that is deflected and wide. And it hit the netting. And now we get a little chippiness from Mitch Belisle right in front of his own goal. Mitch, a veteran kind of defensive stalwart, if you will.
Yep, and he's American out of Cornell University. He's been around the league for a long time. A long stick player in the field game who's transitioned well into playing with the shorty, playing defense with the short stick and box. He's one of the few Americans that really loves this game.
I'm sorry, they're sending Belial to the box now. His chippiness has now cost the Swarm, and they'll be back on the penalty kill.
I think they got both of them.
Okay, they also get Ryan Benesh.
That's that's kind of the officials could call the penalty there or not. They called a penalty to make a statement that we're not going to have that going on today.
So we have 4:35 left in the first quarter, and a game tied at 2 between the Swarm and the Bandits. This is Georgia Swarm Lacrosse on Fox Sports Southeast.
Play 5-on-5 when there's simultaneous penalties.
And to this point, as we're nearing the 4-minute mark of the first quarter, Drew Petkoff loses the ball, but now sprinting down the right side. We have not seen really too many clean offensive possessions from Georgia.
I don't know if we've really had any other than when they were on the power play. They moved it a bit. The opportunities they've had have come quickly. We have not seen those extended offensive sets that we've become accustomed to with the Swarm.
And Jackson with a shot right in the gut of David DeRuzio for a save, but we're used to seeing very fluid ball movement from the Swarm offensively, and you give Buffalo credit. They've been able to kind of disrupt the rhythm of the Swarm.
Absolutely. And part of the key to that ball movement.
And a long outlet pass there from Tutton to Tutton was missed, and a shot there from Thompson also off the mark.
Part of the key to that ball movement is the longer you possess the ball and keep it moving, the defense gets tired. It's a physical game. It's exhausting playing defense, and you end up playing against a tired defense at the end of the shot clock.
And there's Stainhouse. And both these penalties about to expire here shortly. Dane Smith dumps it in the middle. And a shot from Wild is saved as it got behind Higgins, but then rolls in the net. I saw him save it. I looked down real quick and looked back up, and the ball rolled in the net.
And honestly, when it looked like he got it, it must have somehow scored it away from him. He made a nice save and stopped the ball. Somehow when he flipped around there, I think he must have knocked it in.
And it was Mitch Wild on the shot. And you can see that Higgins makes the initial save. I think it just scoots through his legs 5-hole. Oh, that's a gut killer right there.
He missed it with his glove.
With his glove, yeah. And you can see Jordan McIntosh diving in frustration to try to stop it from going in. Nonetheless, it is a 3-2 advantage for the Bandits. And Higgins answers the bell right there with another quick save.
And that's when Higgins got to stay positive with himself. He made the save, and he comes right back and makes another save right out of the gate there.
And just to point out, Buffalo's been involved in a lot of close games this year. 3 of their 5 games have been 2 goals or less with 2 1-goal games. And you hope that little goal that squeaked past Higgins doesn't come back to hurt them later on in the game as Georgia tries to set things up offensively. Less than 10 to shoot. And it's Matisse right at the offensive zone line. And Jesse King can't handle that ball. 2 seconds left to shoot. And a shot clock violation where Buffalo gets the ball regardless. Still not a very solid offensive possession yet.
No, they've been sloppy, and the good news is, though, it's only 3-2. They're playing pretty well at the defensive end, and Higgins is doing a nice job in the net. So although the offense hasn't started clicking yet, they're right in this ball game.
There is King with the ball to the goaltender's left, now moving towards the center. And here comes Randy Stotts. And a shot, it looked like it hit the post. I don't know. Nonetheless, it doesn't go in. But it did go off the post. My eyes are not deceiving me here, Brian. Getting older, but not that much older.
And it resets the shot clock for them.
90 seconds left in the first quarter. Swarm trail by 1. Another save by DeRuzio. Randy Stotts with 2 good scoring opportunities there.
All right, here we go now.
And the shots in favor of the first quarter heavily favoring the Bandits, 12-6 so far. We've got about 70 seconds left. And the see the Bandits try to set things up. Stainhouse working in the middle. And is saved by Higgins as the net comes off the Mornings, but Georgia gets the ball. And here comes Joe White over midfield, dumps it over to Miles Thompson. Thompson working in towards the back of the net, looking for some help from somebody. And here comes Jackson working inside, behind the back pass. Cannot be corralled by the Swarm. Ball is loose on the floor. And Buffalo will pick it up. We get a quick stoppage in play with 32.6 seconds left. Both the penalties to Belisle and Benesh have been killed off.
And the Swarm pulled Higgins there to get the 6-on-5 advantage at the end of the quarter.
And we get a delayed penalty call, and it'll be Mitch DeSnew heading to the box for Buffalo.
All right, crowd, say it with me, number 12.
So for the last 32.6, Georgia will have a man advantage. And we'll see with the 30-second shot, there's about a 2-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. So we'll see if the Swarm try to hold for this last second shot, if you will, last scoring opportunity.
Let's go. You got 15 seconds. Somebody scream.
And it's a very slow pace here as we watch the clock tick down. 8 left to shoot. Now 5. And a shot from Jackson goes wide. And that will end the first quarter here with a horn. Or a stoppage with 1.1 seconds left. Now we get the final ending as Higgins has to make a save right there as the bell goes off, the horn goes off rather. And we are tied at 1 at the end. I'm sorry. Stainhouse working in the middle. And is saved by Higgins as the net comes off the Mornings, but Georgia gets the ball. And here comes Joe White over midfield, dumps it over to Miles Thompson. Thompson working in towards the back of the net, looking for some help from somebody. And here comes Jackson working inside, behind the back pass. Cannot be corralled by the Swarm. Ball is loose on the floor. And Buffalo will pick it up. We get a quick stoppage in play with 32.6 seconds left. Both the penalties to Belisle and Benesh have been killed off.
And the Swarm pulled Higgins there to get the 6-on-5 advantage at the end of the quarter.
And we get a delayed penalty call, and it'll be Mitch DeSnew heading to the box for Buffalo.
All right, crowd, say it with me, number 12.
So for the last 32.6, Georgia will have a man advantage. And we'll see with the 30-second shot, there's about a 2-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. So we'll see if the Swarm try to hold for this last second shot, if you will, last scoring opportunity.
Let's go. You got 15 seconds. Somebody scream.
And it's a very slow pace here as we watch the clock tick down. 8 left to shoot. Now 5. And a shot from Jackson goes wide. And that will end the first quarter here with a horn. Or a stoppage with 1.1 seconds left. Now we get the final ending as Higgins has to make a save right there as the bell goes off, the horn goes off rather. And we are tied at 1 at the end. I'm sorry.
This copyright telecast of the National Lacrosse League Incorporated may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the National Lacrosse League.
Welcome back to the Infinite Energy Arena, Harris Cherokee Casino Field. Mark Zinno and Brian Silcott. This is Georgia Swarm Lacrosse. 3-2 Buffalo leads after one. Shots heavily in favor of the Buffalo Bandits. That graphic backwards there. Buffalo with 17 shots, Georgia with 9, and that's not something you expect from a team like Buffalo, as they're not a very big offensive team.
No, that's a lot of shots in the first quarter. Thankfully, Higgins was up to the task and did a fantastic job in that quarter, keeping the ball in the net. And as we mentioned, that third goal, really, he made the save before it trickled in on him.
So we have a 3-2 game here. Georgia starts the second quarter on the power play. And they'll have about a minute and a half left in this power play. We'll see if they can tie this game up, and teams switch sides of the field. And we'll see if Georgia can kind of also get that offensive flow back that we really haven't seen so far in the first quarter. Buffalo, one of the better defensive teams in the league.
It almost seems as if they're making a conscious effort to take the first decent shot that they get rather than waiting for the great shot.
And you saw that from King right there, but Jackson gets the rebound. And another shot from Jackson, saved by DeRuzio. Ball is popped up in the air, being fought for by both teams and picked up by Buffalo behind the net.
When you have a big goaltender like DeRuzio, the outside shots, if you can hit the spots, he's not going to move much. The problem is they're not hitting the spots on those outside shots right now.
And Ryan Benesh working up against the boards. He's being guarded by King. And a pass across the field to Stainhouse, excuse me. And now it's Benesh at the top of the offensive zone. Shot was deflected wide, never got to Higgins. And Georgia will get an offensive possession. Technically, shot clock went off, but nonetheless, it is Swarm ball.
All right, now.
And Brian, I honestly haven't seen Kyle Matisse be worked enough into things. He leads the team in assists. He's a big catalyst for what they do offensively.
Yeah, he really hasn't touched the ball a lot today. I mean, hasn't been in the stick much at all today.
And Thompson with the save, and then coming out of the penalty box is Mitch Desnu, and a long outlet pass, and a save by Higgins. And he dives on top of the loose ball. That was unfortunate timing for the Swarm, but a great save by Higgins.
Absolutely, a fantastic save by Higgins. And again, the Swarm taking a shot early in that offensive possession on the power play.
And Swarm trying to find a good scoring chance. Another shot there saved by DeRuzio, a shot from Jackson. Jackson's kind of been firing at point-blank range right into the gut of DeRuzio several times so far this game.
Yeah, I think one of those things, he's a shooter, and his shot isn't going where he wants right now, but as a shooter, you have to keep taking those shots. You can't shy away from it.
And here's an outlet pass to King, who's all alone. I'm sorry, that's Joe White, rather. And White will dump it off. And now the ball is loose. He'll get it back off the boards. And a nice nifty pass to Shane Jackson. He couldn't hold on to it and get a decent shot off of it, but those behind-the-head passes are a thing for Georgia. The Swarm loved that.
That one was ridiculous.
Particularly Powell. Johnny Powell's is great at that. He's got eyes in the back of his head. To the credit of the Swarm, I was just saying, I almost just about to say they held Dane Smith scoreless, and the first shot from him, as soon as it comes out of my mouth, there's a goal that goes 5-hole right between Higgins and Dane Smith, the third leading scorer in the NLL, finally gets on the board.
Yeah, I think he kind of goes over the shoulder of his defender here. A little bit of a screen from his defender who's falling back in. He puts it right over his shoulder.
Nice pump fake
stick
there.
Up high, and actually gets Higgins stick up off the ground a bit, squeaks it in the 5-hole.
The 17th goal of the year for Dane Smith in his first of this game. And there's now a 2-goal lead, 4-2 for the Bandits. And the Swarm back on the defensive end here. I wonder if there's much of a hangover from that game against Calgary where they blew that late lead. We talked about that in the pregame. A save from Higgins. The ball goes into the netting, so it'll be a fresh 30 for the Bandits. But they kind of just don't look like what we're used to seeing.
Yeah, I also think that with this goalie change for Buffalo, I think they have to be looking to take shots.
And that was a soft goal given up there by Higgins. And Ryan Benesh went right over his Higgins' left shoulder. It just kind of was one of those wide open point blank shots that we were saying Georgia's been taking too quickly. You'll see Benesh here with just a clear shot.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Previously, he got beaten down low in the 5-hole, and now they come back, similar motion on the shot from the lefty, and he puts it up high, and Higgins looked a little uncomfortable at it.
You see that these players in this league, and you know this as a former player, don't need a really big window to sneak a ball past a guy.
No, they're shooting into tiny holes, tiny holes.
I mean, there wasn't much room over Higgins' left shoulder there, and Benesh just found a small crease and went right through it. And now Dane Smith with his shot and a save from Higgins. 5-2 as we approach 11 minutes left in the second quarter. And it's McIntosh feeding it back to Thompson with a shot and a save. Ball was loose behind Aruzio, and now you get McIntosh setting it free again, and Georgia gets it right back. Great play by Jordan McIntosh there to knock that ball loose.
Yeah, good hustle. Jordan McIntosh is one of my favorite players in the league. He does a little bit of everything, and right there, gains a possession for his team.
So now it's Miles Thompson trying to work towards the middle, and a pass over to Shane Jackson. And a shot that goes wide from Johnny Paulus, and the ball loose going into the stands.
A little bit better ball movement there out of the Swarm. We're starting to see them banging the ball side to side and up and down. The shot missed, but that's the kind of ball movement we need.
Yeah, that was the first good offensive series they've had pretty much all game. But they still trail 5-2 as we near 10 minutes left in the first half, and another save by Higgins. And a fresh 30 for Buffalo. Darryl Veltman has already got a goal in this game. Will establish the offense for the Bandits. And working towards the middle is Dane Smith with the shot. Looked like it was deflected, never got to Higgins. And now Georgia can come out offensively, sprinting down the left side of the field is Ethan O'Connor. And he ended up getting it back after the ball bounces around. He's double teamed in the corner. He's trying to get it free, finally does, to Jesse King, who gets hit immediately. You mentioned how Buffalo's a defensive team. They just showed it right there down low.
Yeah, a little bit of physicality there, the double team, and then as soon as King got the ball, right in his face.
Do you think that Georgia's surprised by the level of play of Buffalo defensively at this point?
I would hope they're not surprised. I think that I think that they've made a decision early on to take some shots on this goaltender and see what he had. And I'm hoping as we move into the game, we'll get a little bit more patient in the offense.
And another one scoots right through the legs of Zach Higgins. And Dane Smith with his second goal. He initially stopped it, but it got under the stick for a little bit and slowly rolled and painfully rolled into the net.
That one. This one is painful because clearly Higgins doesn't know exactly where the ball goes. We can all see it. He's looking to try to figure it out, and it just trickles across. Again, he makes the save, gets on the ball, but can't keep it out of the net.
So the Swarm find themselves in a 6-2 hole. Dane Smith, you knew you weren't going to keep him shut out all game long after shutting him out in the first quarter. Eventually he was going to get his. And we are going to get a goaltender change right now as Zach Higgins heads to the bench, and Brody McDonald will come on. And we kind of wondered early on, after giving up two quick ones, it looked like Higgins was going to Casino Field and in the Infinite Energy Arena for Georgia Swarm Lacrosse. Mark Zeno, Brian Silcott, Zach Higgins back in net. Ed Como briefly went to Brody McDonald, but during the timeout, Zach Higgins now comes back out.
We got a pump fake from Coach Como there. I don't know if he changed his mind or if there was an issue with Higgins that he had to come out and get some attention, but that was a quick switch back to your original goaltender.
Got to the bench, said, Coach, what are you doing? I'm still ready to go. Okay, go back out there. But nonetheless, Georgia trails 6-2 as we have 9:10 left in the second quarter. And again, we have not seen the typical Georgia offense yet. The fluidity in the passing, the ball movement, guys circling around and taking really high percentage shots. We've kind of just seen guys standing around and firing shots at the goalie like it's warm-ups.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things Buffalo is doing defensively is trying to prevent that ball from transitioning side to side. Trying to keep it on one side of the floor.
Sorry, Brian, we see that from Shane Jackson. Just took a point-blank shot, and DeRuzio makes the save. And then it was Mark Steinhaus, or was that Kevin Brownell? It was Brownell who gets another one right past Higgins. Maybe he should have gone to McDonald.
And I think he might be now.
And he is definitely going to Brody McDonald now. Whatever Zach Higgins said during the timeout, maybe, hey, coach, give me another shot. He did, and quickly he gives up a goal. And Brunell with his second goal of the game. And now we see Brody McDonald. And Brian, I mean, you've been Brody McDonald, you've been sitting on the bench the whole time. How do you kind of get yourself in a game that you're trailing huge in?
Yeah, I think it's something that goalies take pride in, is being able to come off the bench and swing the game for the team. It's partially about the goalie, it's partially about the team having some pride in a new guy coming in there and playing better for him. I think the change was made in part because of the goals, but also because Higgins looked a little uncomfortable for the last 10 minutes or so.
Thornburg wins another faceoff for the Bandits, and you hope right now, if you're Brody McDonald, you don't give up another goal the rest of this half, and Georgia can get a couple back, make it a 7-4, 7-5 game. And just as I spoke, McDonald gives up a goal, so I'm officially the jinx of the game.
And he got body on that, hit him in the left shoulder there, I think, and popped up and in.
Was that Dane Smith again with his hat? This would be a natural hat trick with 3 goals here in the second quarter. So it's Dane Smith, who was held scoreless in the first quarter, came up big here in the second.
Dane Smith gets the ball. The first thing he's going to do, he wants to test this goalie right away. He did get, it wasn't his shoulder, but he did get a little piece of it. It sneaks through, though.
So Smith with the hat trick here in the second. And it is an 8-2 game. And Georgia's got to find a way to stop the bleeding because there is a lot of time left. And certainly 6-goal leads don't seem big to average fan, but it's not impossible.
Absolutely. What they got to be thinking about is 1 goal. That's all they're thinking about now is the next possession. And we need to get a good look at the cage and get a shot off that can go in the net.
And giving up 6-goal leads, something Georgia is really familiar with, as they did that in the game against Calgary. They were up 12-6 late in the game and ended up losing. So it's not impossible by any stretch of imagination. A big save there by McDonald on one end, now offensively.
In any type of comeback, the goaltender is going to be key, obviously.
As we see Georgia try to work its way in, that's Jesse King, gets the ball knocked out of his stick. Buffalo comes out offensively. This has been a fantastic job by the Buffalo Bandits defensively.
Yeah, that was Steve Priola behind the net there. He's a fantastic defender, big, strong, lanky kid.
They have suffocated a Georgia offense that is one of the best scoring offenses in the league, and statistically has the best goals per game in the league, and they are just struggling right now to find their way. And Steinhaus tries to dump it across to Chad Culp, and he does, and Culp dumps it right in. We now have a 9-2 game.
That's what that one's not on the goal. If the ball skips across the entire defense like that to the backside, that's a very difficult save for the goaltender. You can't let the ball come through the middle of your defense like this to a man posted up on the left-hand side. It's too easy. You're throwing it almost into an empty net if you get it in and out quick enough.
And that's exactly what Culp did. Barely even got in the netting in his stick and just pushed it right through. And McDonald didn't stand a chance against it. So Culp with his second goal of the year, a 9-2 lead for the Bandits. And this is, I think the Swarm are kind of shocked right now. They're just kind of caught off guard by what Buffalo has been able to do offensively. I mean, Buffalo's not a very high scoring team. The most goals they've put out this year is 15, or 14 rather, and that was in a losing effort, so this is not something that we're used to seeing.
No, it's not. It's not their game. They're a defensive team, and their defense obviously is doing a fantastic job as well, and I think that might be part of the problem for for Georgia is that they're not accustomed to their offense being shut out. They're also more accustomed to the ball spending more time in their offensive end of the floor, and they're not getting long possessions. The defenders are continually running back out on the floor to defend.
And as we mentioned earlier, Buffalo yet to win a game on the road this year. So they have struggled on the road, and they look like they are very comfortable at the Infinite Energy Arena in Harris Cherokee Casino Field. So it'll be Thornburg and McIntosh for another face-off. And it looks like it was a face-off violation. He'll give the ball to Buffalo. I mean, if you're Ed Como right now, Brian, I think you're telling your team to focus on fundamentals and just try to get one goal.
Yeah, I think regardless of their original strategy, they got to be thinking about longer offensive possessions, both to get better looks at the cage, but also to give their defense a bit of a break.
And Buffalo with 10 left to shoot. Dane Smith with another shot that's off the mark. And a shot from Stainhouse goes right underneath the right leg of Brody McDonald. And this looks like a practice for the Buffalo Bandits right now.
Yeah, remember one of my keys of the game was goaltending, and I used the word consistent. This has been very inconsistent goaltending. We've seen some good saves, but that's the third long outside shot that's gone in, and you just can't have that.
Stainhouse with his second goal of the game, 10th on the year. And as I mentioned, 14 goals, a season high for the Bandits. They already have 10, and we're just over halfway through the second quarter. And finally, Georgia answers right back, and it looked like it was Joel White beating David DeRuzio over his left shoulder.
So all this talk about the offensive stars here in Georgia, and it's Joel White, a defender out of Syracuse, that gets a big goal, hopefully to get them back on track.
You see White just kind of running right through the defense and saw a wide open left side of the net, or right side if you're from the other angle, but he beats him right over his left shoulder.
And you can see from that replay, a great play by Joel White, but also how little movement there is out of the Buffalo goaltender. He hit the spot. There was almost no movement to get to that ball.
And so a 10-3 game as we near the 6-minute mark of the first half, or the second quarter rather, ending the first half. And now Stott's coming around a couple of defenders. And he gets knocked on his backside and throws it quickly back to McIntosh. The shot looked like it was a pass intended for Thompson that goes right off to Ruzio. And now Alex Keto Hill on the opposite end will fire a shot at McDonald that is saved. And quickly picked up by the Swarm. And it was Ethan O'Connor with the loose ball. O'Connor sprinting right into the offensive zone. And a shot score right there from Johnny Paulus.
And again, the beautiful thing on that shot, it obviously was transition. They had a bit of a break, ended up being a 3-on-2-ish look. What they did is they moved the ball from one side of the floor to the other, forcing a big goaltender to move across the cage, and then he finished the shot back on the far side.
And O'Connor dumps it right to Paulus, who was getting hit at the same time, and a low shot goes in. And believe it or not, I think you go back to the Buffalo offensive possession with a quick shot that quickly turned it over as they were changing lines and led to that scoring opportunity.
Absolutely, you're absolutely correct.
And Thornburg doesn't lose the faceoff. A violation, gives the ball to the Swarm. And the Swarm have scored quickly 2 goals in a row now and have cut it back to a 6-goal lead. You talked about goaltending being so important. Had McDonald been able to keep it at 7-2, and the shot hit the post. And Buffalo gets it back, but you're in a much more manageable situation at 7-4 than 10-4. But nonetheless, that's the situation we're in. And Buffalo trying to set things up offensively, and a shot looked like it went off McDonald. A shot from Veltman. Also, it'll be key for the Swarm to grab rebounds on the shots that McDonald does save.
Yes, absolutely. Get those double possessions. That's, again, where you really get at the tired defense. You take a shot, get the ball back. The defenders are exhausted by the end of that second 30 seconds.
So there's 17 left to shoot, and Buffalo will maintain the possession. Veltman near the center, and a violation turns the ball over. We get a quick stoppage in play. Well, Georgia has done some to get back into this game, scoring 2 quick goals. It is a 10-4 lead for the Bandits. This is Georgia Swarm Lacrosse on Fox Sports Southeast.
My little brother's birthday is today. I have an idea.
Western Union makes sending money across the country easy. Download our app, go online to westernunion.com, or visit one of over 51,000 agent locations today.
That was easy.
This is moving money for better.
Get ready to enter the hive.
Hard-hitting professional lacrosse action returns to Infinite Energy Arena March 18th when your Georgia Swarm battle Rochester on Harrah's Cherokee Casino Field.
He's for a goal!
Lower-level tickets start at just $28 at georgiaswarm.com.
Jesse King with a great goal!
Powered by Harrah's Cherokee Casino, Georgia Swarm Professional Lacrosse. You'll feel the buzz long after the final buzzer.
Casino Field at Infinite Energy Arena. Mark Zinno and Brian Silcott. Georgia Swarm and the Buffalo Bandits. The Bandits with a 10-4 lead. 4:57 left in the second quarter. And shots on goal doubling up for the Bandits, 30-15 over the Swarm. And that's not a place that Ed Como is comfortable with.
The reality is they're doubling them up on shots, which is not a great position for the goaltender to be in.
Swarm trying to fight their way back in as another shot from Stotts is saved, and the leading scorer for the Swarm, Randy Stotts, been held scoreless so far on this afternoon.
Again, big Steve Piola out there checking the ball out of sticks.
And that ball will go into the stands, and Buffalo will get a possession. We talked about kind of the guys who are the catalyst for the Georgia offense, and Kyle Matisse and Randy Stotts, and it just hasn't been their afternoon so far.
No, when that's happening, they need to take time with their possessions. But the other thing is, maybe get a couple goals out of transition. Guys like Jordan McIntosh and Joel White are capable of running the floor and scoring goals. Chad Tutton as well. When it's not going for the other guys, maybe you can get some in transition.
Ball loose on the floor and fighting for it. Well, both teams, it looks like it's picked up by the Swarm eventually here. And that is Jordan McIntosh sprinting right into the offensive zone, dumping it back to Thompson for a shot and a save by DeRuzio. That was a great scoring opportunity right there. And a long outlet pass to Alex Keto Hill, and he beats McDonald right over his right shoulder.
Yeah, reverse transition. Everybody got wrapped up in the transition going forward. Hill slips out the backside, and when they don't score, wide open on the other end.
Great scoring opportunity here from Thompson.
Yep, he drops his stick all over it, up and out the other side. Everyone from Georgia is pressed forward in the run. Reverse transition for an easy goal.
And give DeRuzio the assist on that. Not often you see goaltenders get points, but he certainly earned one there.
Yep, every once in a while, and that was a nice outlet.
So it's an 11-4 game, and Buffalo wins the face-off again. And Jay Thornburg, best face-off guy in the league, going to make it very tough to get possessions for the Georgia Swarm.
And you're absolutely, that's another important part of making a comeback, right? Great goaltending, keep the ball to your net, but also winning those face-offs so you get the ball back.
So we're under 3.5 left to halftime. And the Swarm just trying to find a way to keep themselves in this game. And a diving shot right there from Shane Jackson. Goes over the net, ball is loose on the floor on the turf, and it's picked up by Buffalo, and they'll come out in transition. And as we see coming down the right side is Matthew Bennett, and he dumps it back to Veltman. So 12 left to shoot, and another save by McDonald right there. And it looked like that was Stainhouse with the shot. So now McIntosh will set things up offensively for the Swarm. Looking for help. Here's Matisse. Now you're starting to see some more of the ball movement and the fluidity. Thompson pump fakes and then pulls it back, and he'll work his way around some defenders towards the net. And a goal right there by Thompson. A nice nifty move going back to the opposite side.
Yeah, that's a pretty goal. Diving across, bringing it back to the short side. Fun to watch, but more importantly, that could be a little bit of energy to get them back on track.
You can see Thompson just kind of sizing up the defense here as he's working through and then just goes for it.
Yeah, the goalie has no chance, right? His whole body is diving across the crease, but he has such body control, brings it back, a little bit of a twister to the far side there as he goes across.
All in midair just for effect right there. Beautiful goal by the rookie, Lyle Thompson, first overall pick. That is his 7th goal of the year. And Buffalo answers right back in the blink of an eye. Ryan Benesh gets a quick give-and-go pass and beats McDonald. And you talked about goaltending being part of the comeback. They're not getting it right now.
No, they're not. They're a little bit unsettled there on defense, but get the replay. I mean, there's just nothing there. I put that partially on the defense. That's a situation where they should be back. There's no reason to have that kind of transition there, but that's also one you'd like for your goaltender to be on that pipe.
We've seen too many times this year where there is a Buffalo player, no Georgia defender, and just a goalie standing alone.
Exactly.
And you don't have to know much about lacrosse to know that's probably not the best position you want your goaltender to be in. You'd like a defender between your goaltender and the guy with the ball, but such has not been the case. It's a 7-goal lead, 12-5 here as we're under 2 minutes left in this second quarter. And that ball almost scooted past McDonald in. That was crazy that it would have happened a third time. Georgia will set things up offensively now with a fresh 30 seconds. At what point in time do you start to feel a sense of urgency when you're down by 7 goals? I mean, there's still over 30 minutes left in this game, Brian.
Well, watching Lyle take it upon himself to dive, and he beat his man one-on-one before he made that diving move. I think that's a little bit of Lyle Thompson saying, okay, I'm going to go get a goal for my team right now. And that comes with a bit of urgency.
So we're under a minute left here, or just about a minute left. And 10 left to shoot for the Bandits. And Benesh with a shot that goes wide. And Dane Smith picks up the rebound, and he'll shoot and a save by McDonald. And Georgia comes out offensively. We're looking at Ethan O'Connor.
Let's get one more.
And a cross-field pass. And now back to Randy Stotts. And there's a bagel next to his name in the stat sheet. He gets checked there and loses the ball.
And that's not their game, right? I mean, Lyle Thompson's goal was beautiful, but their game is not one-on-one dodging offense.
So there's about a 3-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock, and the Bandits can hold this thing down for one final possession. And Georgia kind of frantically trying to force them into doing something. And Dane Smith with a pass in the middle and a shot from Chad Copeland, a save by McDonald. Ball is loose on the turf and fought for up against the boards as the horn sounds, ending the first half, and a very disappointing first half it was for Ed Como's team as they find themselves in a 7-goal deficit, being outshot nearly 2-1 so far. And we will take a timeout and come back with the first half stats. Here's the Swarm trail 12-5 at halftime. Brian Silcott, Mark Zinno. This is Georgia Swarm Lacrosse on Fox Sports Southeast.
Welcome to NLL Halftime. I'm your host, Dave Walls. Week 6 of the 2016 NLL season is in the books, and there was lots of great action. On Saturday, the Georgia Swarm traveled to the Saddledome to face the Calgary Roughnecks. A big rush capped off by Kyle Matisse's goal put the Swarm up 9-3 early in the third, but the Roughnecks fought back. A 7-1 run by Calgary put them right back in the game. Tyler Digby with 5 goals on the night tied it with under 4 to play. Then Greg Harnett put it in for the win 52 seconds later. Calgary comes back for the 12-11 win over Georgia. On Saturday, the Buffalo Bandits look to stay undefeated at home, hosting the New England Black Wolves. The Bandits rushed out first thanks to an 8-1 run in the first half. Buffalo extended it in the third quarter thanks to back-to-back goals by the Great Dane himself, Dane Smith. New England made it a 1-goal game late on Kevin Crowley's 5th point on the night, but it wasn't enough. The Bandits now tied of New England for first in the East with their 12-11 victory. 4 games on the Week 7 schedule. Vancouver travels to Rochester, while Calgary is hosting Colorado. Saturday sees Buffalo traveling to Georgia, while Toronto and New England close the weekend. Be sure to check the broadcast schedule at NLL.com to find the games available in your area. That'll do it for NLL Halftime. Thanks for watching, but don't go anywhere. The second half of your game is coming up next.
Not many things can be achieved in no time with minimum effort and no sweat at all.
I know just the gift.
But Western Union makes sending money across the country easy. Download our 4-star app. Go online to westernunion.com or visit one of our over 51,000 agent locations in the U.S. today. This is moving money for better.
Bandit Land. You've cheered the Bandits on to thrilling victories. 4 championship titles in now 25 seasons in Buffalo. We want to celebrate with you. Get your tickets now starting at $21 or purchase your McDonald's Family 4-pack for just $69. Tickets are available at the First Niagara Center box office, online at bandits.com, or by phone at 1-888-467-2273. See you in Bandit Land.
Get ready to enter the hive.
Hard-hitting professional lacrosse action returns to Infinite Energy Arena March 18th when your Georgia Swarm battle Rochester on Harrah's Cherokee Casino Field.
He's for a goal!
Lower level tickets start at just $28 at georgiaswarm.com.
Jesse King with a great goal!
Powered by Harrah's Cherokee Casino, Georgia Swarm Professional Lacrosse. You'll feel the buzz long after the final buzzer.
You.
My little brother's birthday is today. I have an idea.
Western Union makes sending money across the country easy. Download our app. Go online to westernunion.com or visit one of over 51,000 agent locations today.
That was easy.
This is moving money for better.
This copyright telecast of the National Lacrosse League Incorporated may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the National Lacrosse League.
Now let's welcome today's halftime cheer tunnel on the field. Including this cheer tunnel are the Lassiter Trojans, who are the U9 champions of the Atlanta Box Lacrosse Association.
Welcome back to the Infinite Energy Arena, Harris Cherokee Casino Field. This is Georgia Swarm Lacrosse. Mark Zinno, Brian Zilcott with you as
out at the same
you
time.
just saw the shot of Brody McDonald. He'll be instrumental in this comeback. He's got to find a way to keep Buffalo off the scoreboard.
Absolutely. And, you know, we talked about the face-off numbers. The reality is they're not going to win a lot of face-offs, so they can't rely on that as a way to get back into this. They need to do it with their offense and defense and limiting Buffalo's shots.
And there's a reason why they're not going to win a lot of face-off. Jay Thornburg of the Buffalo Bandits, best face-off man in the league, and he's got the advantage today, winning 12 of the 19 face-offs. And look, I mean, this is going to require a total team effort, and this is a great chance for the Swarm to kind of let everybody know that, hey, even though they're a young team, they can come out of a pointless this game, and he's got to get involved if they have any chance of getting back in this game.
We saw Stott's frustration early when he made that one-on-one play that really nothing happened with it, but something happens right there.
And a quick goal from Johnny Powlis right there, and then another just wide open point-blank shot. Nothing fancy about it, just beating the goaltender one-on-one.
Yeah, he had a nice look there, and I think, you know, he wanted to get the early shot, but that's a great look off of a little bit of a pick and roll. And the other guy goes with the other man.
And here's Dane Smith once again. Dane Smith had 1 point in the first quarter. He was held scoreless. Was part of 5 of the 9 goals with a natural hat trick in the second period.
Yeah, great second quarter for Dane Smith after we were talking about how his first 3 shots got saved.
Second quarter, excuse me, rather than period. But nonetheless, Dane Smith was the guy who was kind of shut down in the first quarter and was unstoppable nearly in the second.
And we mentioned it with Shane Jackson, right? The shooters got to keep shooting, and eventually they fall, and they did for Dane Smith.
And right there, a shot from Banesh, saved by McDonald. And we've seen Brody go through good stretches.
Momentum changes very quickly in box lacrosse.
And you'll see right there as the Bandits pull things back. It was Jay Thornburg literally standing next to McDonald and decided to pull it back. As you mentioned, Thornburg more of a face-off specialist than anything else.
Jordan McIntosh gets a shot off there.
What a goal right there by Darryl Veltman, and that was a heck of a pass on his backside. Was that from Dane Smith? I think it was. Who was knocked down, threw the ball up in the air. Veltman caught it and dumped it right past McDonald. That was excellent.
Yeah, I said in the
Buffalo, Alex Keto Hill with a pump fake loses the ball. And it's picked up finally by the Swarm. Drew Petkoff loses the ball and then gets checked hard into the boards. And Buffalo gets it right back. That's that physicality of the Bandits you mentioned earlier, Brian.
That's a little physicality from the Swarm there, but
and now we're going to get delayed penalty call on the Swarm.
Right there.
As you'll see, they'll go. They will pull Dave DeRuzio off the field, and there'll be a 6-on-5 advantage here. Trying to score on a save by Brody McDonald in a fresh 30, and that ball rolled closely next to the net. A long rebound, but with the shot clock running now, it's still a 6-5 advantage on a delayed penalty call, similar to hockey. You see the referee's arm up in the air, and he'll leave it there until the Swarm can possess the ball or a goal is scored, either one.
An extended possession here for the Bandits with the 6-5 advantage.
And Keto Hill with another shot, and nobody on the Swarm can corral the rebound. And now finally we get a whistle, and that will send... Looks like Drew Petkoff, or who was it? It'll be Jordan McIntosh, rather, who will head to the penalty box for a cross check.
Yeah, a little frustration, I think, there from McIntosh. He was late getting back to the center to get the man, and he needed to be physical probably at first because he didn't know if the ball was coming in there, but he kind of continued to, and I think the official would not have called it initially, but he continued to go at him and had to call the penalty.
So a 13-6 game, and now the Buffalo Bandits on a man advantage. And an all-important penalty kill for the Swarm here. Dave Smith working his way in. Looked like he was winding up for a shot, and then a save right there from McDonald. Ball caught in his pads. That was a big save right there, and Georgia now had a chance to kill some of this penalty off.
That was a pretty good look, and what you can't afford to do is give the ball right back.
Turn the ball right over to exactly what they just did. Dave Smith now going to sit in the corner and wait for help. McDonald in a fresh 30. And that ball rolled closely next to the net. A long rebound, but with the shot clock running now, it's still a 6-5 advantage on a delayed penalty call, similar to hockey. You see the referee's arm up in the air, and he'll leave it there until the Swarm can possess the ball or a goal is scored, either one.
An extended possession here for the Bandits with the 6-5 advantage.
And Keto Hill with another shot, and nobody on the Swarm can corral the rebound. And now finally we get a whistle, and that will send... Looks like Drew Petkoff, or who was it? It'll be Jordan McIntosh, rather, who will head to the penalty box for a cross check.
Yeah, a little frustration, I think, there from McIntosh. He was late getting back to the center to get the man, and he needed to be physical probably at first because he didn't know if the ball was coming in there, but he kind of continued to, and I think the official would not have called it initially, but he continued to go at him and had to call the penalty.
So a 13-6 game, and now the Buffalo Bandits on a man advantage. And an all-important penalty kill for the Swarm here. Dave Smith working his way in. Looked like he was winding up for a shot, and then a save right there from McDonald. Ball caught in his pads. That was a big save right there, and Georgia now had a chance to kill some of this penalty off.
That was a pretty good look, and what you can't afford to do is give the ball right back.
Turn the ball right over to exactly what they just did. Dave Smith now going to sit in the corner and wait for help. But that will count for a goal, and it is now the largest lead of the game. It'll turn into a 14-6 and 8-goal lead for the Buffalo Bandits.
What the Swarm needs is some stops. They need to string together 2-3 goals at a time. Obviously, if they keep trading goals back and forth with Buffalo, they're going to lose this game. They need a few stops, but they need to string some goals together, 2-3 at a time, to get both momentum and also to catch up on the scoreboard.
A very dejected Swarm bench. Kind of see guys with shoulders, down and a little sullen at this point in time as they trail by 8 with 10:49 left in the third. And Jay Thornburg, Jordan McIntosh will take the face-off. And the official now kind of having a discussion with the benches from midfield.
But the Swarm in the past and Buffalo tonight has shown us, or today has shown us, what you can do in a quarter. And, that's still out there for the Swarm. If they can get it going and put it together, 3 goals in a row, they're down by 5, and all of a sudden it's a competitive game again.
So at one point, the Bandits put together 8 consecutive goals spanning the first quarter to the second quarter, and 7 consecutive in a row in the second quarter, spanning, what was that, about 7 minutes, 6.5 minutes or so. So we're getting a little bit of a delay here as we wait for the face-off, and finally it's coming between Thornburg and McIntosh. And face-off won by the Bandits. And there you see Matthew Bennett. And he dumps it back over to Priolo, and both Bennett and Priolo will head to the bench for a line change. Buffalo works offensively. And the pass lost there by Mark Stainhouse and picked up by McIntosh, who's sprinting down the side, now has to pull it up and wait for some help. Mitch Desnew guarding him as McIntosh getting double teamed in the corner. And Buffalo jamming both those guys up, Wild and Desnew, and he finally gets some help. And a shot right there from Randy Stotts didn't even make it to DeRuzio. And Buffalo will come out on the offense.
Yeah, Stotts pressing a little bit there, I think, with that one. I don't think they were very deep into the shot clock yet.
You got to get a sense that Stotts maybe kind of just wants to try to do something to help his team out at this point.
Absolutely, absolutely. He's trying to get some goals on the board.
He's been the biggest reason why Georgia's so good offensively this year, and hasn't happened for him. Dane Smith dumps another one in. Dane Smith now with his 4th goal of the afternoon.
Well, we talked about him in the open. He's a fantastic player. He's difficult to stop, and you know he's going to get 2-3 on you. What you can't do is let him have one of these great days.
And Manesh with a great pass and goes right through the legs, 5-hole of Brody McDonald.
Using his arms to extend his stick out, eyes of the stick, getting the head of the stick out to a better angle there to finish on the goaltender.
Is there a certain sense with a guy like Dane Smith, and I remember it happened with Sean Evans against New England the last home game here, that, you know, one of the better players in the league, the reigning MVP. Does it say anything to you about Georgia that the best player they haven't been able to shut down? Some coaches go with that philosophy. I'll let somebody else beat me as long as we don't let their best player beat me.
Yeah, I do not think they've taken that approach. I think Dane Smith is having a fantastic game, and it's his will and his desire to score goals that's making it happen. I don't think that in any stretch of the imagination that the Swarm is conceding these goals to Dane.
No, not by any stretch, but just are they doing enough to try to take him out of the game? In the first quarter, they were very successful with it. So they'll have to figure out a way to figure this out. 15-6, the Georgia Swarm trail as we are halfway through the 3rd quarter. This is Georgia Swarm Lacrosse on Fox Sports Southeast.
Get ready to enter the hive.
Hard-hitting professional lacrosse action returns to Infinite Energy Arena March 18th when your Georgia Swarm battle Rochester on Harrah's Cherokee Casino Field.
For a goal.
Lower level tickets start at just $28 at GeorgiaSwarm.com.
Jesse King with a great goal.
Powered by Harrah's Cherokee Casino, Georgia Swarm Professional Lacrosse. You'll feel the buzz long after the final buzzer.
My little brother's birthday is today. I have an idea.
Western Union makes sending money across the country easy. Download our app, go online to westernunion.com, or visit one of over 51,000 agent locations today.
That was easy.
This is moving money for better.
Welcome back to the Infinite Energy Arena, Harrah's Cherokee Casino Field. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. It is Georgia Swarm Lacrosse, and a great crowd on hand. Over 4,900 people came out on Valentine's Day to show some love to the Georgia Swarm.
Absolutely. It's a nice crowd out here. A beautiful day. Happy Valentine's Day to you as well.
Well, thank you. I'm not giving you any kisses, though. We are not on the kiss cam, but unfortunately the Swarm haven't shown the love back to the fans at this point on the scoreboard. That is, trailing 15-6, under 9 minutes left here in the 3rd quarter. And they just have not been able to find a way to generate any consistency on offense, and certainly haven't been able to slow the Buffalo Bandits down defensively.
No, and as you mentioned, Dane Smith in particular, and going back to your point, you know, one of the difficult things in the game of box lacrosse is to focus on a single player, because if you overemphasize him, in 4-on-4, everybody becomes super dangerous. But the reality is, throughout the season, Dane Smith has twice as many points as the next best player on the Bandits.
And that's what's going on. I get why I asked the question from a standpoint as we see Statehouse with a shot and save from McDonald. If there's such that disparity, like if you're facing the Georgia Swarm lacrosse, you see Stotts has points, Shane Jackson has points, Jordan McIntosh has points. I mean, there are multiple guys who can beat you. Kyle Matisse. That's not the case for the Bandits in the shot and a save there from DeRuzio. That's not the case for the Bandits. After Dane Smith is a major drop-off, so you would think that there would be a focus on Smith saying, hey, we're not going to let him score at all or do everything possible to take him out of the game.
Yeah, and the difficulty with it becomes that in a 4-on-4 situation, Ryan Benesh and Mark Stainhouse are going to become extremely dangerous.
And it looks like it was Miles Thompson right there notching one on the scoreboard, making it back to a 8-goal deficit rather. 15-7 it'll be, and it was Thompson with a low shot that got right past DeRuzio.
As you see, nice effort, steps back away, and again, we talked about it earlier, using the defender as a screen. So he steps back away off the pick, defender tries to recover to him, he extends his arm, reaches around the defender so the goalie can't see the ball till it's more than halfway to the net.
Thompson with his 7th goal on the year to go along with 9 assists, 16 points for the former Tewaaraton Award winner. Him and his brother were co-recipients of it back in 2014. Both of them played at the University of Albany. And for those who don't know, they both sport that long ponytail, a homage to their Indian heritage.
And they both can score a lot of goals. And that was the first time a Native American won the award, and the first time it was given to 2 players in the same year. And I think it was appropriate that year that it was 2 players.
And the Thompson brothers certainly don't disappoint. Miles, the first overall pick in 14, or the first round pick in 14, and Lyle Thompson, the first overall pick in 2015. So, and both of them played for the Iroquois national team. And while we were discussing all this, Mitch Wild gets a penalty, and now Georgia's in a situation where they have the man advantage and an opportunity to start to cut into this lead a little more.
Yeah, man advantage, but somehow I think they got a violation off the faceoff, so we're going to have to wait for the power play to come out.
And Stainhouse with a shot that is wide. And it looked like it hit the netting, so Buffalo will retain possession.
I think he must have gotten a piece of McDonald's foot there.
So the Georgia power play dwindling down, 1.5 minutes left. Mentioned earlier that the Bandits, 5 shorthanded goals in the year. That's tied for 2nd in the NLL for most shorthanded goals by a team, and a violation gets the Swarm the ball. They still have about 80 seconds to try to put another goal up on the board here, continue to cut into this deficit.
Let's get behind these boys. We're swarming in here.
There's Randy Stotts, and a pass was wide of, it looked like Thompson in the back corner, and it's a turnover. The ball loose. Priolo tried to corral it and can't, so he'll retreat back to defense, and we're under 1 minute left in the power play. See if Georgia can set things up offensively. Powless working with a shot past the Stotts, and the shot was saved by DeRuzio. DeRuzio with another long outlet pass, but quickly defended and picked up by Lyle Thompson. That was some fantastic defense there.
Yeah, he got back quickly. Nice check. That shot from Stotts, I do not think went where he wanted to go. He was trying to do a twister to the far pipe, and it ended up almost in his chest of the goaltender.
Stotts with a shot and a score. That's Powers, rather. Sorry, I apologize. Nonetheless, Powers gets the power play goal.
Quick shot off the hip right by the stick hand there. Well placed off that hip with his little space.
I wanted Randy Stotts to get a goal so badly. I thought it was him, 83-93. Nonetheless, Powers with a point-blank shot that goes right past him on the stick side.
Yeah, they're trying to play the one defender helping out and then coming back to him. The guy in the low pipe didn't want to step up, giving him plenty of time to place that shot.
You mentioned several times that DeRuzio, a big guy, doesn't move much, and he barely flinched on that shot attempt there.
Yeah, he weighs 300 pounds. He's a gigantic man.
Anything he does isn't going to be fast.
Yeah, and so he takes up a lot of the net just with his physical presence. So he doesn't need to move a lot to defend most of the goal.
And Brody McDonald on the other end, no slouch to being big. A guy who stayed at 6'7", 245. So 2 huge guys in net right now. They'll ask McDonald to take care of not letting any more goals in for the rest of this game and try to keep them back in it. And a shot that was off the mark finally picked up by the Swarm. It's a 15-8 game.
That's how we do it.
How much is momentum a critical part of box lacrosse here? Because you get the sense that if Georgia starts to scores a goal here, now you're starting to feel a little momentum build. Hey, they've scored 3 in a row, and Buffalo may start to tighten up on defense a little bit.
Momentum is huge, and goals tend to come in runs in the sport of lacrosse in general. And momentum's a great thing until you lose it, right?
And
there we go.
To score by Stocks, finally on the board. It's a 15-9 game.
And we've seen a number of those outside shots just haven't gotten where he wanted them to be, but he got that one right up in that top right-hand corner.
So now it is a 15-9 game. We just talked about the momentum starting to build. And a laser of a shot there from the top of the offensive zone gets right over the left shoulder of DeRuzio.
And we can see there that, if they can start hitting those spots with the outside shots, they're going to fall, and they can get back in this game.
I misspoke. Kyle Matisse with the goal, not Randy Stotts. Matisse with his first goal of the afternoon. That is his 6th goal of the year, although he leads the team in assists coming into today with 21. But a good sign that Matisse is starting to get more involved in on the offense. He is a huge catalyst for what they do.
Yeah, and a good decision there from Matisse, I think, to pull up. They need to get shots on the net, and he got that one right on the spot.
And a kind of soft shot off the backboard, off the boards rather. Goes to McDonald, and Georgia gets the ball back again. See, now, again, they're starting to get more offensive possessions here, Brian.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, it's looking like a ball game again. They get a couple more here.
Oh, great scoring opportunity there by the Swarm. Could not convert.
And despite the fact that they did not score.
Huge save right there by McDonald on a shot from David Brock. And that was point-blank range.
Despite the fact they did not score there, they're generating opportunities now, right, that we weren't seeing earlier in the game.
And Matisse gives it back to Thompson on the far side. Now coming across, Matisse gets it back. Here's Jesse King working towards the net around the defender. Being matched up on Mitch Jones. Matisse with another shot that is saved by DeRuzio. Under 4 minutes left, under 3.5 left. As a matter of fact, the pass picked off right there by Jordan McIntosh. Tries to work his way through 2 defenders, waiting for some help, but behind the back pass to Jesse King, and his shot behind his head that was saved by DeRuzio. Some nifty ball work right there from the Swarm.
Yeah, if that one goes, that definitely is on the highlight reel.
Absolutely. So Georgia is starting to get in the flow of things here. They've cut it down to a 6-goal game, 15-9. We'll take a timeout, come back with more Georgia Swarm Lacrosse on Fox Sports Southeast.
getting a little more creative. If they can keep the energy going, they can get back in this one quickly.
Buffalo will start out with the possession here as we near the 3-minute mark. But the defense has stepped up and the offense starting to score some goals. You know, maybe you notch one more here before the end of this quarter. If they don't give up another one, you go into the fourth quarter down by 5. It seems like it could be manageable.
I think that is what everyone on the Swarm bench is thinking right now.
Priority number 1, stop the Bandits here on this possession, as they have 5 left to shoot, and it's Stainhouse being double teamed quickly. This is some fantastic defense here by the Swarm, and a shot clock violation. Great defensive stand.
Yeah, excellent defensive stand there. Stainhouse probably should have moved the ball. He wanted to get that shot off, though, and they did an excellent job of giving him absolutely no space to shoot.
And now 3 Bandits players will converge on, looks like assistant official Ian Garrison.
I think Stainhouse is asking for a hold there. And
no, he's going to the box right now is where he's going.
I think he ended up getting the penalty because he didn't drop the ball. He was upset. He thought he should have gotten a hold call.
He gets an unsportsmanlike conduct,
exactly, for not dropping the ball immediately.
Huge break for the Swarm. 2:33 left. They'll spend 2 of those minutes on the power play here. We talked about getting that one more goal, a golden opportunity for them to do that here.
Let's get one back right here.
And you see the Swarm working the ball around. This is the fluidity we're used to in the passing that we're seeing. And a shot from Powers. Looks like it was deflected, never got through. And Buffalo picks it up. But that was the ball work that we were talking about with Georgia.
Is Georgia getting it back here?
It looks like they are. And they're going to get another penalty on the Bandits, so they're going to have a 5-on-3 advantage, a huge opportunity here.
Yeah, and what they'll do in the 5-on-3 most likely is play 4-on-3. They're going to play 4-on-3 and leave one guy back as a safety valve to make sure the ball doesn't go over the mid-floor, and they have a defender back all the time.
So Billy D. Smith goes to the penalty box, and the Swarm score. And that's exactly what they needed with 2 minutes left, and still they'll stay on the power play. They'll still have a 5-4 man advantage after this.
And the 4-on-3 is a very difficult situation. That's why there's no need for that 5th offensive player to get involved. They leave him back as a safety valve, play the 4-on-3, and exactly as you said, they're going to get another opportunity here.
And Powers with a great goal, his 2nd of the game. I'm sorry, 4th rather of today. 2nd of this period, I should say. Or quarter, and regardless what you want to say, the Georgia Swarm down by 5 now with an opportunity to cut it to 4.
And I had said they're not going to win a lot of faceoffs, but it's funny how when you get momentum, they've gotten 2 or 3 violations recently to get the ball off the faceoff.
And still on the power play here, a shot from Powers is off the mark, and it goes off the netting, and Georgia will retain the possession. It's Thompson at the top of the offensive zone, looking, throwing it behind his head. And coming around to the top is Stotts. Ball is loose and picked up on the turf by Randy Stotts, and he swings it over the side to Jackson. His shot is wide, and Kyle Matisse does a smart thing, bounces it off the boards and gets it right back. His shot from Powers is wide, and we're going to get a shot clock violation on the Swarm. So still just under a minute left in this 2nd penalty here.
Not a bad possession, but a little bit too much time in each stick as it moved around. Everybody was taking that extra look for something to happen. If they get the ball banging more, I think things will open up for them.
And there's Ryan Benesh with the ball being teamed up on by Chad Tutton. And being spun down and trying to fight his way through the ball. Finally knocked loose and picked up by the Swarm. And they'll have about 30, or they haven't gotten it yet. They're still working for it. And the ball is loose on the far side, and a shot clock violation on the Bandits. And with about 25 seconds left in the power play, they'll get one final rush. Under 30 seconds left in the half right now, or in the quarter rather. I'm getting my timing all mixed up. I'm very excited. I'd love to see a goal here. A 4-goal lead is very manageable going into the 4th quarter.
Indeed.
So 3 seconds left in the penalty, and a shot from Powers goes wide. And we are now at even strength as you see Billy D. Smith come out, and he does a great outlet pass. And a save from McDonald off Mitch Jones. That's the 2nd time that's happened today where a penalty on the Bandits, the guy coming out of the box is right in the right position in transition, and the horn sounds ending the 3rd quarter. And it was a almost insurmountable lead, starting to look a little bit more manageable. It is a 15-10 lead for the Swarm as we head to the final 15 minutes. This is Georgia Swarm Lacrosse on Fox Sports Southeast.
Bandit Land. You've cheered the Bandits on to thrilling victories. 4 championship titles in now 25 seasons in Buffalo. We want to celebrate with you. Get your tickets now starting at $21 or purchase your McDonald's Family 4-pack for just $69. Tickets are available at the First Niagara Center box office, online at bandits.com, or by phone at 1-888-467-2273. See you in Bandit Land.
Not many things can be achieved in no time with minimum effort and no sweat at all.
I know just the gift.
But Western Union makes sending money across the country easy. Download our 4-star app. Go online to westernunion.com or visit one of our over 51,000 agent locations in the U.S. today. This is moving money for better.
Get ready to enter the hive.
Hard-hitting professional lacrosse action returns to Infinite Energy Arena March 18th when your Georgia Swarm battle Rochester on Harrah's Cherokee Casino Field.
For a goal.
Lower level tickets start at just $28 at georgiaswarm.com.
Jesse King with a great goal.
Powered by Harrah's Cherokee Casino, Georgia Swarm Professional Lacrosse. You'll feel the buzz long after the final buzzer.
This copyright telecast of the National Lacrosse League Incorporated may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the National Lacrosse League.
Arena and Harrah's Cherokee Casino Field. We're about to start the final 15 minutes of the Swarm and the Buffalo Bandits, where Georgia trails 15-10. Take a look at the remaining home schedule for the Georgia Swarm, Brian. And at 3-3 right now, the Georgia Swarm are in a good position, but they've got some tough contests the rest of the way out.
And the big one that jumps off the page is the Rochester Nighthawks coming into town. Always a tough team, a ton of talent there. That's one everyone should get out and watch. And then, of course, we have the New England team coming back into town, which could be huge in division standings coming down the stretch.
Bandits 3-2 on the year so far. Georgia Swarm 3-3, just a half game. Bandits tied for first, and the Swarm just a half game behind them in the standings. But very tight Eastern Division here so far in the NLL in 2016. Right now, the Georgia Swarm find themselves trailing 15-10, but building some momentum. It was a 15-6 game, so they've scored 4 consecutive goals. And see if they can keep that momentum going.
That's what we talked about, right? Stringing goals together is the key. You can give up some here and there. So you got to get those strings of 3 and 4 goals.
And you can't help but go back to early on, or halfway through the second quarter, when Zach Higgins was pulled. If Brody McDonald, and it's not on him obviously, but could have made a couple of more saves. This game is a lot more manageable. He makes a big save right there. But nonetheless, the Georgia has to dig themselves at what was once a 9-goal hole.
Yeah, and suddenly, you know, we're looking like we're having some pretty steady goaltending right now.
And Tutton dumps it in the corner. And it's Shane Jackson now over to Randy Stocks. He's working towards the middle. Back to Jackson, a shot and a save. That's the great passing that we like to see from
Exactly,
Georgia.
yeah, that's a great look at the cage. We didn't get the goal, but that's good offense, good creative offense right there.
We're in the last quarter. Did you see that?
So the Bandits now with 17 left to shoot. And here is Ryan Benesh working towards the net with a shot that gets right past McDonald, not what the Swarm wanted.
No, well-placed shot, low and away there. You know, You really can't defend that with a defender that needs to be stopped by the goaltender, but that was a well-placed shot.
And it was just low and hard and right to the right on the stick side of McDonald. Wow, there was not a big opening there.
No, right by his foot. There was maybe enough space for the ball to fit between his foot and that pipe.
And Benesh with his third goal of the game for a hat trick. He and Dane Smith both have one for the Bandits. So it's back to a 6-goal game here as we we're in the 13-minute mark. I'm sorry, Brian, go ahead.
They can give up a goal. The key is that they got to get the next 2 or 3, right? They're going to give up a couple more goals in this game, but they need those strings of 3 and 4 in between the Bandits' goals.
And right there, Randy Stotts with a shot that is denied. There was some great passing between him and Thompson. Thompson working by himself against 3 Bandit players, and now finally one of the Swarm players comes over for some help, and it was Ethan O'Connor. And here's Steve Priolo being matched up against O'Connor, trying to get into the offensive zone as he awaits a line change from the Bandits. And the assistant captain for the Bandits cutting in up against McDonald at a shot that was wide. And the rebound bounces high over to Ryan Benesh, and a long cross field pass over to Dane Smith. He loses it. It goes down in the corner. And a shot clock violation.
All right, here we go. We're not backing down.
And now the Swarm back on offense as we approach 12 minutes left in the game. And here's Paulus working around with a pass in the middle of Thompson, a shot and a save from DeRuzio. Better scoring opportunities here in the second half than we saw in the first, Brian.
Definitely, definitely.
Ball is loose, bouncing up against the boards and picked up by Buffalo. And Benesh dumps it in the corner.
I think in the end, though, those ones into the middle are going to be less effective than good looks from the outside and ones to the backside against this goaltender.
And Stainhouse with a shot and a save from Brody McDonald. And Buffalo gets the ball back with a fresh 30. Benesh running past Petkoff. Here's Chad Culp, and he cuts inside and then pulls back. 13 left to shoot for the Bandits. And the Bandits had the luxury of taking a shot and a save by McDonald, but the Bandits had the luxury of taking their time on offense.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they want to run burn clock. They still want to try to score, but you know, they're definitely going to be shooting late in possessions unless they have an easy break.
There's Kyle Matisse cutting in for a shot that is wide. And the Swarm try to get it back, but that's the problem when you're in a 6-goal deficit right there. You want to get good shots, but you can't. It takes a little while to set up your offense. You don't have the luxury of time right now.
Yeah, I think Matisse didn't really get the angle he wanted to. In the end, he kind of jumped to try to create it, but didn't have a great look at the cage there.
There's Daryl Veltman cutting in, and Veltman doing it. A goal goes right through the legs, and Veltman now with his 3rd goal of the game. He joins Smith and Smith and who else has a hat trick? Benesh, thank you. Took me a second.
And a little defensive breakdown. The defender fell down. No one on the backside saw it happen, and he basically walked in one-on-one with the goaltender there.
And now the Swarm back to a 7-goal deficit. So all that momentum they built kind of just wiped away. And it's almost a shame that the 3rd quarter had to end, because I think that stoppage in play, Brian, certainly slowed down that momentum.
Yeah, gave the Bandits a chance to regroup, settle down. I'm sure Coach was telling them, Troy Cordonley telling them, let's possess the ball a bit, slow this game down.
And right there, a low shot from McIntosh score. And Jordan McIntosh brings it back to a 6-goal game, his 1st goal of the afternoon.
Jordan McIntosh, one of those guys we mentioned earlier, he's not in their normal offensive rotation, but he's a transition guy who's very capable of scoring. He's also taken all of their face-offs, but in the end, he's a versatile player who can play both ends of the floor and take the draws. And here he gets a nice outside shot.
Starts with the pass, and the bounce shot goes right in, and 17-11 now the count as we have 10 minutes left in the game here in the 4th quarter. Now defensively, is there a way to attack this to force turnovers?
It's difficult. You can, but the risk is that when you press out, you don't have any help on the backside, and you open up opportunities for them to skip the ball across when you do try to help.
They give and go to Alex Keto Hill, and he scores. And he has a hat trick, so that's the 4th player on the Bandits with a hat trick this afternoon.
Yeah, and it's, Dane Smith was the big guy today, right? And these other guys have gotten their goals, especially as the Swarm started to press now. Some other guys are picking up goals as well.
It's been that kind of game so far for the Swarm. Just to kind of recap, it was a 2-0 lead. They tied it back up. Buffalo goes on a run of 8 in a row. Then they traded goals back and forth and brought it down to 6, now back up to 9. So it is a huge hole for the Georgia Swarm, and they'll try to dig out of it. 18-11. This is Georgia Swarm Lacrosse on Fox Sports Southeast. Cherokee Casino Field, Buffalo leads 18-11, 9:41 left in the game. And if I would have told you coming into this game, Brian, that one team would have 50 shots on goal with 9 minutes left and one team would have 35, I don't think you would have thought Buffalo would have been the one with 50.
No, I would not. Definitely not. And there's another one.
Yeah, I make that 51 or another goal, and is that Dane Smith getting his 5th goal of the afternoon to go along with 5 assists, a 10-point game so far for him. He's just been unstoppable since the first quarter.
And that looked like a one-on-one drill in practice. It was just him and his defender and no help coming whatsoever as Dane Smith went one-on-one.
And remember, and now Brody McDonald's walking to the bench and going into the locker room.
He broke his stick on the goal after that one.
Yes, as you can see, the referee's walking off the field with the goalie head stick. So Zach Higgins will come back in net. And absolute frustration there from Brody McDonald.
Yeah, and interesting though, he basically just left the game. And maybe his other stick is in the locker room. He had to go and get it, but that was not coach pulling him off the floor. He just left.
Bad sign overall. Well, he has a 2-minute penalty, I guess. They gave him and they're sending Kyle Matisse, who's the in-home player. Every team has a designated in-home player to serve bench minors, and I guess he got a unsportsmanlike conduct penalty for breaking his stick, and Georgia will find themselves on the penalty kill and trailing by 8. Dane Smith, who is one of the better players in this league, 10 points on the afternoon. We were highlighting in the first quarter how he only had 1 point. He had 1 assist. He was held scoreless. Zach Higgins, who started the game, left and is now back in, had stopped him on his first 3 scoring attempts, and it looked like, hey, that's a great sign if you're going to take their best player out of the game. But in the 2.5 quarters since, he is absolutely blown up for 9 more points and 5 goals.
Yeah, we talked about the philosophy of a shooter. That you just keep shooting, and you got to have faith that they're going to start falling, and that's what Dane Smith does. He just keeps playing, gets his opportunities. With confidence they're going to go in, and that's another assist for Dane Smith there.
Certainly is, and another goal for the Buffalo Bandits. And
Hill again.
Yeah, it was Alex Keto Hill. Goals are coming in bunches at this point in time. And Buffalo, again, I point out their high-scoring 14 output this year. They've surpassed that by quite a lot. And another point-blank shot there, Brian.
Yeah, and this is the point where they look a little bit like they want the game to end.
Still 8:45 left in this game, and it's got to be tough. I'm sure you've been in games like this before, to just keep playing as hard as you can, even though you're essentially getting crushed and getting outplayed on both ends of the field.
Yeah, and you got to take pride in every personal matchup that comes up and keep fighting. Whether you're going to get back in the game or not, you got to fight. You got to fight to hold on to your job. You know, as a coach, I'm looking for guys that are going to play at all times and compete at all times.
Ball is loose on the turf, and you see Swarm players sprinting to it. And this is a fast break opportunity, if you will. And Alan Skrepensek, a shot that scooted right between the legs of DeRuzio and rolled right along the crease line there, or the goal mouth as they call it.
I think it'll be interesting to see how the Swarm responds here in these final 8 minutes. It appears as if they're continuing to compete and fight, and I'm sure that's what Coach wants to see, a team that's going to go at it no matter what and stay together as a group. If you're Coach Como, do you start to put in some of your guys who don't usually see a lot of action at this point in time? The reality is in this game, they're all seeing a lot of action. Everybody has their roles, and I don't think you're going to change anyone's role in the game. We did see Jordan McIntosh taking a shift on offense, but generally the guys are going to keep fulfilling their roles throughout the rest of the game. And what Coach wants to see is them continue to fight, play together, and most importantly, stick together as a group, not start pointing fingers. Have faith that, okay, we lost this game, we got to keep fighting, we'll come back out in the next one as a group and do a better job. Well, should this game stand the way it is, barring the outcome of some other games, Buffalo, who is tied with Rochester and New England coming in today at 3-2, and the Swarm at 3-3, so Buffalo would move into a sole possession of first place momentarily. There are other NLL games going on, but the Swarm would fall to 3-4, and other than the fact that the defending Eastern Division champions Toronto Rock are 0-5, the Swarm record probably not indicative of how well they played this year. As a shot right there bounces off the turf and hits the netting. And I really think, Coach Coleman's got to be thinking, we talked a little bit about the fact this isn't necessarily a really young team, but they are a younger team. They have a lot of rookies playing, and what's going to matter most is where they are at the end of the season. They got to play well enough, get themselves into the playoffs, and be a better team at the end of the season than they are now, where they can win more consistently. And a shot off the mark right there by Stainhouse and picked up by Georgia. You and I were fortunate enough to talk with the Swarm owner, John Orlotta, prior to the game. He was up in our booth, and we were just chatting around, and you mentioned the word young as a save right there from DeRuzio off Drew Petkoff, but and now a long outlet pass over to, it was Mitch Jones, and he beats Higgins right over his right shoulder, and it gives him a 21-11. Now it's a 10-point game, or 10-goal lead, but with 6:10 left. But just kind of returning to the subject of speaking with our owners right after we take a look at this play from Mitch Jones, right over his shoulder. Yeah, pins the top corner. It's a one-on-one. He has a lot of options there. The goaltender has no idea where he's going to go. He chooses to release it early and pick the corner nicely. Jones with his first goal of the game, 5th on the year. And one of the things that John Orlotta told us was that you mentioned that, hey, this is a young team, and there's a goal right there from Chad Tutton, the 5th overall pick of the Swarm in this draft, one of the 4 first-round draft picks out of UNC. But we talk about the youth of this team and how young they are with guys like Chad Tutton, as you see him here, a one-on-one situation. Yeah, Tutton with a nice look. He has the ball in his stick. He thought twice there, I think, about passing it across the other side, but he had the look he wanted. And Tutton, as I said, he runs in transition, but he can score goals. He can score a lot of goals. And back to John Orlotta saying he wanted to remove the young designation from this team. But I told him I thought that it's okay. It kind of just depends on how you phrase it. If this is it's a good young team, well, the young is kind of, in a sense, meant to say, well, they'll lose games like this because they're young. They'll get beat by a veteran team like Buffalo, who's got a lot of the same players, all from Ontario, and they're all practice together and play together. But if you're a young, good team, that young is saying, hey, we win a lot of games, and they're going to be a nucleus for years to come. Exactly. And that's what I think he hopes to get this team in the direction going. And that's what I'm sure that they're working toward as a unit. You go out every game and fight to win, and your goal is to win every time you come out. But I'm sure Ed Cuomo didn't go into the season thinking they were going to be undefeated.
And the goal right there by Shane Jackson as he tucks it in the back of the net on a feed from, it looked like Johnny Powers. And you talked about them fighting all the way through. They're at least showing some signs of life here.
Absolutely. And you know, the key after this game is clearly now they're not going to win this game. The key after this game is to put it behind them, look at their mistakes, address the errors, but put it behind them and get better and move on to the next game. Because as I said before, the goal for them has to be to get better every day out.
Great pass from Powers to Jackson, who was covered quite well. And Jackson strong enough to get the shot off. And it's back to an 8-goal game as we near 5 minutes left, 21-13. But John also talked about he likes this team. He likes the makeup of these guys. And sure, there are some challenges when you have a young team with 4 first-round draft picks, and a lot of those guys play a lot of minutes in these games. We get a save from Higgins. But this is a nucleus, I think, that he's set up for a couple of years, 2-3 years down the road. This will be a powerhouse in this league.
Absolutely. I think John's quote was, "This is the team I've been trying to get since I came into this league." And he has what he wants. And one of the nice things, John Arlotto is one of the great owners in this league. Will make sure these players are happy here and they want to continue to play on this team. And a few years down the road, and even I think later on in this season, this is going to be a heck of a lacrosse team.
Yeah, and we talked about the home schedule and what's left. There's a lot of games left for this team, and by no stretch of the imagination they out of it. I think step one is for this team is to try to make the playoffs and put themselves in a position to go for a championship. So from that standpoint, that's number one for this young nucleus, this young core.
Absolutely, you got to isolate this game. They win the next one, they're 4-4. They're in great shape.
They trail by 8 right now, 21-13, 4:13 left here at Harris Cherokee Casino Field, Infinite Energy Arena. This is Georgia Swarm Lacrosse on Fox Sports Southeast.
My little brother's birthday is today. I have an idea.
Western Union makes sending money across the country easy. Download our app, go online to westernunion.com, or visit one of over 51,000 agent locations today.
That was easy.
This is moving money for better.
Get ready to enter the hive.
Hard-hitting professional lacrosse action returns to Infinite Energy Arena March 18th when your Georgia Swarm battle Rochester on Harris Cherokee Casino Field.
Bandits for a goal!
Lower-level tickets start at just $28 at georgiaswarm.com.
Jesse King with a great goal!
Powered by Harris Cherokee Casino, Georgia Swarm Professional Lacrosse. You'll feel the buzz long after the final buzzer.
At the Infinite Energy Arena, Mark Zinno, Brian Silcott for Georgia Swarm Lacrosse. The Swarm not having the Valentine's Day they had hoped. Appreciate the love from the fans who showed up this afternoon, but certainly not the offense or the defense that Georgia wanted, trailing by 8 as we approach 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
And as we were saying before we went to the break, they got to look at this as an isolated game and not start to question themselves in any way. They're doing a lot of good things. They've played very, very well at times. It's going to have to put this one behind them and move on to the next game.
And Randy starts with a shot that is off the mark. And Buffalo will come out offensively. And you start to look forward for, the Georgia Swarm. As you said, mentioned just putting this game behind you as quick as you can. You try to finish this game off and hopefully move on to the next one. Unfortunately, it's not like many other sports with Swarm Lacrosse. They have some time off before they have to play their next game. And, Georgia will fall to 3 and 4 after this game is over. But next weekend, they'll get a chance to get right back at it and hopefully get back in the win column, get back to 500. after this game, next Saturday night at 7:30, they'll be at Buffalo to face this same team again.
Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, you got to put it behind you. Obviously, there's mistakes to be corrected and things to look at, but what they're not going to do is come out next week saying, okay, Buffalo's better than us. I'm sure they firmly believe that they changed some things, get a little bit better goaltending, tighten up the defense a bit early on, and they can beat this Buffalo team.
And then a week after that, on Sunday, February 28th, they'll be at New England. So they have 3 more road games before they come back home here to the Infinite Energy Arena in Harris Cherokee Casino Field. But they had a 3-2 road trip, could have been, or a 2-1 road trip rather, the last time out. Could have been 3-0 had they not blown that late lead to Calgary, but maybe the road is the best place for these young guys right now. I'm
sure there's things that they like about being on the road. Buffalo's going to be a tough arena next week. There'll be a lot of fans there.
They're undefeated at home.
And that are not going to be nice to them. But often I always found when I played in the league that negative energy coming at you could sometimes be a bit of a motivator. And these kids, while we talk about them being young, you know, they've played in a lot of big games before. They have a lot of experience in big games. And I'm thinking they're going to come out in Buffalo with a little bit different look than they had tonight.
So we're into 2 minutes left in the game. When Ed Como watches this tape, what's the one thing that you think will stand out to him that they need to work on?
I think a little bit of disorganization in defense, particularly in that second quarter, where Buffalo was getting easy looks. And you know, we were talking about the goaltending, and there were a few that probably could have been saved, but the reality was the defense was a little soft.
And right there, we get another goal from the Swarm. And now it's about padding stats, so to speak, because with a 7-goal deficit left in a minute 37. But nonetheless, we'll take a look at how it all went down for Jordan McIntosh.
And it is a pretty goal. It's the similar in result to Lyle Thompson's, although he chose to go behind the back to bring it back to the short side.
That is
as opposed to using the twister.
Yeah. That is a beautiful goal there from Jordan McIntosh.
And that's their face-off guy.
It's a shame that goal doesn't mean more for this game. That's a SportsCenter highlight type goal.
Absolutely.
The athleticism of the guys in this league sometimes just absolutely wows me. I mean, you watch several games of this, but you never get unimpressed by watching a guy dive in one direction and throw a ball behind his head with a high rate of speed in a net with a goaltender there.
Yeah, it's a unique sport in that there is the physicality. You got to be big, strong, fast, and all of that stuff helps you. But then it has a unique skill set in handling that stick and doing things with that stick in your hand that really makes it a special game.
And Chris Williams looking at this just to be sure at this point in time, to make sure there was no crease violation from McIntosh. And the style and the play of some of these guys, I mean, this is the reason you can really, as a fan, get into lacrosse, and in particular box lacrosse. This is not a play that you'll see often or anywhere, a play like this in any other sport.
No, it's absolutely spectacular as he dives. I mean, the wherewithal to bring it back to the short side, but do it behind his back, because if he tries to bring it back to the front, to the opposite side on the front side, the goalie's in the way of that side of the net, so he has to go behind his back to get the angle with the head of his stick to place it back where he did.
Now, and the frustrating part of the game today, Brian, when we were talking before the game, if I would have told you, I'm guaranteeing you the Swarm are going to score 14 goals, you would have felt like that would have been a win.
Absolutely.
You would have felt like that would have been a win. Nobody would have predicted that Buffalo would have dropped 21.
In this league, you score 13 goals, 14 goals, you expect to win the game. And your defense has got to limit the team to 11, 12. That's just the way every coach has to look at it.
And that beautiful goal from Jordan McIntosh officially counts as the thumbs up, or the good signal was given from the official with $1:37 left.
And the other thing I would say to the kids is Jordan McIntosh is not doing that to show off. That is the right shot in that situation. That gives him the best chance to score, and he goes behind the back to improve his angle, not to show off.
I couldn't show off in this game if I tried to, so fantastic play by Jordan McIntosh, and just a outstanding goal. Unfortunately, it's not going to make much of a difference for the Georgia Swarm overall, as we're approaching a minute left in this game. And so the Swarm will fall to 3-4, and the Bandits will improve to 4-2. And not the right direction to head in the Eastern Division standings. They're pretty tight up top. Again, say the Toronto Rock, who are still winless. And that was the defending Eastern Division champions from last season, and yet to get a win this year. Kind of surprising. Matisse with the shot that is wide. Got bounced off the boards and hit the official. So we're under a minute left. And most of the 4,900 plus fans still here at the Infinite Energy Arena cheering on the Swarm. That's great to see.
Cheering the team, enjoying the game. It's fun to watch no matter what the score is.
And so with 12 left to shoot, 30 seconds left in the game. For the Bandits, we'll just kind of hang on to this thing here. And double team in the corner, and we get a shot clock violation. And with 15.6 seconds left, this will be the final possession of the game for the Swarm.
Let's get one. Let's get one.
And here is Miles Thompson. And a shot and a save by DeRuzio. The horn sounds, and that is the final. As the Buffalo Bandits defeat the Georgia Swarm 21-14 here at the Infinite Energy Arena in Harris Cherokee Casino Field. And a disappointing Valentine's Day for the Georgia Swarm and their fans, but nonetheless, a lot of season left still, Brian.
Absolutely, and that's what they have to be thinking about. Probably after tonight. Tonight they're not going to be happy or disappointed, but they got to look forward. And they're, as you said, they're coming right back out and playing this team again. So there's not a lot of time to wallow in your misery. They got to go out and get ready because Buffalo's coming at them again in 7 days, 6 days.
So a 21-14 final. The Georgia Swarm drop one to the Buffalo Bandits.
And don't forget,